Good morning, Greenlight the Day family. This is part two of what I like to call the exploration. Before I was always saying I was on a journey, and now I like to say I'm lost and I'm exploring because I love that term so much better. And the first time we had talked about the road that we're on or the journey that we're on. What does that really mean? How do we explore? And so this part is talking about who we are as individuals. I am still reading The Art of Being. I can never get these things to look right on here. And I guess I should tell you it is by Dennis Merritt Jones, DD. I know that stands for Doctor of something. Anyway, so there's a chapter in the book that talks about George Harrison. He was one of the Beatles. I know this is before a lot of our time, or maybe it isn't, I don't know. But the Beatles are still famous, almost 50 years later? And George Harrison, I guess, was known as a spiritual Beatle. I mean, he did Hare Krishna, and he traveled the world and things like that. And there's a quote that he has in this book, and the author of the book actually was friends with George Harrison. And so I'm going to read you what George Harrison wrote about being a Beatle. The Beatles exist apart from myself. I am not really Beatle George. Beatle George is like a suit or a shirt that I once wore on occasion, and until the end of my life, people may see the shirt and mistake it for me. Wow. This man had clarity about his life. He knew that the Beatle, George Harrison the Beatle, was just a shirt, just a role that he played, and he was not going to allow himself to get attached to it. No matter that millions of people around the world would never ever see him as anyone else but George the Beatle. He had to go deep inside himself and say, you know what, this is what other people see. But I have a whole wardrobe of other shirts. I have other roles that I play, maybe out of necessity, but those roles are not me. I dress myself in the beginning, thinking about when you get up in the morning and, after you take a shower or, you strip from the previous night's clothes, you are naked. You are no one. That is your true essence. That is the only you that you are. And George Harrison goes on to talk about that it's called traveling lightly. Because if you realize it's just you and your nakedness, not what you're wearing, not what you're driving, not how you're speaking, not where you're going, okay, you're on this exploration, right? We're still in the exploration. You're traveling lightly. And you know what he says that means? It means because you are naked and you are open, you are receptive to light. That's what he meant by traveling lightly. And I think about the different things that I do on a daily basis, especially in the social justice or social work field. And it's so easy to get attached to the role that I play. When you're serving people, you're like, oh, I'm saving them. In actuality, they're more than likely saving me. But it's so easy to get attached to that role. And I'm always fascinated by Mother Teresa and how she just lived a life of service. We identify her as that servant. But she's one of those people that, if you can invite to dinner and you would talk with them, I'd want to ask her, so Mother Teresa, I know what you did, but who are you really? And this is what George Harrison is talking about. He is talking about this sense of self where you are not bound by what you wear or by what other people think of you. Just because you put on a 3-piece suit or that nice dress or that gold and diamond earrings doesn't mean that's you. It's just an accessory, right? I'll end it with what he says. You come to absolutely nothing and will leave with absolutely nothing except for the karmic energy you brought along and created during your visit. So do you see yourself as a nobody struggling to be somebody, or somebody who in truth knows you are nobody? Interesting. So we're still in that exploration. What are we carrying? We are carrying cosmic energy. Hopefully we're allowing our nakedness to have us travel lightly, because light is coming through us and coming out to the other side, and how we deal with other people. And then the other part I want to talk to you about that, if we are naked and we're on this journey, we have this cosmic energy and we're traveling lightly, who are we? This one is a little tougher. It starts off with a quote by Dr. Phil. So, let's get ready for that. It says, if your life includes something you profess to hate, yet you continue to do it anyway, this indicates self-betrayal. Do you fail to exercise, go back to school, change jobs, confront your dead marriage, get a date, get a hobby, or deal with the pain of abuse and neglect that scarred you since childhood? If so, you can't be possibly living in concert with who you originally designed to be. Yeah, it's always those tough lessons that we think about the most. But I do like what the author, Dennis Merritt, tried to give an illustration of what this means. Say we are computers, right? When a computer comes from the factory, there is nothing in it. It is completely just the hardware. But somewhere the computer had to be loaded with software. Somewhere it had to be loaded with programs. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to run. And so when we first get that computer, it runs great. The programs run great. Everything gets efficient, no problems. But after a while, we notice it begins running a little slow. It's not accepting the new technology that's out there. And we feel like, this is just so corrupted, in the sense that we can't use the hardware. Well, would you keep using that computer? Or would you say to yourself, what can I do to make this computer run better? I can add more software. I can add more memory. There's a couple of things I can do, even without having to buy a new computer, just with the computer that you have. But it takes that recognition. It takes that knowing that, it's okay that things have to change. Because I wasn't responsible for the original software. I wasn't responsible for the original programming. Somebody else put that in there for me. But I realized that, and I realized what I can do to change that. I just read very quickly what he says. If I can find it. What does it take to live a life in concert with the master designer who originally intended us to be? It requires a willingness to It requires a willingness to reprogram ourselves, to delete all of the downloaded, erroneous information given to us by family, friends, and even strangers, which we mistakenly embrace as the truth about ourselves. It may require letting go of outdated hardware that does not serve us and living a life that honors our authentic being and who we were here to be. So now, fellow explorers, we have kind of an open eye about the exploration we're going to take. We're going to know that whatever we carry with us should help us travel lightly. And then we have this exploration of reprogramming ourselves. It's a lot to do, but we got the rest of our lives. It's going to be okay. Have a great day, a great week, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.